Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It feels wonderful to have this opportunity to speak to each and every one of you tonight. And I really do look forward to seeing all of our progress over the next few months as we continue to work on our conversation skills, our speaking skills. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Kimball, and I do work at Garnet Hill as a web designer. And I'd like to speak with you about one of the greatest accomplishments I've recently experienced. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the triathlon held at Franconia every year, a few of you. It's called Race to the Face, and it involves mountain biking, swimming, and hiking. I got a team together last summer, and I was going to do the mountain biking portion, which was very challenging because I hadn't been on a mountain bike in at least 10 years. So it took quite a bit of effort to even do the entire course without taking a break. But I do remember at one point, I trained with a friend of mine, John, and I remember me taking a break, and I told him how lovely it would be if we had a toastmasters come to Littleton. I knew of one in Plymouth, and it was too far from my schedule, and we talked a little bit about it, and we thought it would be really neat if we could get it going. And I thought, well, maybe we'd work on that, but we had enough challenges at the time working on the race, so I carried on with my training, and it got pretty good. Toward the end of the summer, I was able to do the entire course without taking a break. And it was probably just weeks before the race, I was feeling stronger than ever, when I had a bit of an unfortunate accident. I experienced a brain aneurysm while riding my bike. And as you can imagine, I fell off my bike and I went into shock. And fortunately, my friend John just happened to look behind to see if I was there, and I wasn't. So he looped around to try to find me, and he found me in the woods and quickly got me an ambulance, which took me off to Littleton Hospital. They couldn't really do much for me there, so they put me on a helicopter and sent me off to Dartmouth-Hitchcock Medical Center, where they have some really great equipment and well-trained staff. They did 2 8-hour-long brain surgeries and was able to patch me up pretty good, but I told my wife that I may never emerge from the coma. It could be months, and even if it was weeks, there was a pretty good chance there'd be some significant brain damage. Fortunately for me, the next day, when my wife asked me to squeeze her fingers, I did. And when she asked me to wiggle my toes, I did. And I quickly emerged from the surgery. And moments after they removed the breathing tube, I began to talk, which was a good sign that there wasn't going to be any significant brain damage. And I remember at that time, the neurosurgeon was explaining to me some of the challenges that I was going to go through. He said that I could expect that there would be 6 months of rehab. Maybe months after that I could get back to work, and maybe I would not get back to work at all. And I remember that time because I made a very important decision. I decided to raise my expectations a little high. It wasn't as if I had this overall sense of cupidity. I really did want to get back to work. I love the company I worked for, I love the people I worked with, and I couldn't see myself not at work any longer than 3 months. At the time I had double vision and I couldn't walk, and I had no idea of the challenges ahead of me. However, I committed to myself that 3 months was going to be the time frame that I'd get back to work. Fortunately, I had the support of my friends, my family, my job, and the community, and Facebook, which was really important because it lifted my spirits. Another important thing I did at that time is that whenever I was learning to walk and I fell, I didn't view that as a failure. I chose to view it as feedback. And that was very helpful because it's very important, and I hope none of you have to go through this, but it is very important to keep your attitude positive when you have those types of challenges. So I could have easily thought of myself as a failure when I fell, but that would have discouraged me. So instead I viewed it as feedback. That gave me the opportunity to learn every single time I did anything, to know that I might need to do something a little bit differently in order to have the results that I wanted. So at 3 months and 3 weeks from the date of the accident, I was able to return back to work in a limited capacity. And at 6 months, I wasn't just getting out of rehab. At 6 months, I joined Toastmasters. And I'm absolutely thrilled that we have a Toastmasters here in Littleton. And I really appreciate the opportunity to speak about the greatest accomplishment I have so far accomplished.